What's up guys? My name is Danae. I make marketing simple. If you're new here, definitely consider subscribing and signing up for my free digital marketing newsletter, which you can find in the description. So let's just get straight into it. This video is for anyone interested in building or brushing up their personal brand. So whether you're looking to grow an audience online, to sell something, you're already selling something, or you just kind of want to build your digital personal brand, this video is for you. I'm going to kind of dive into what a personal brand is and how you can build one yourself. I am a self-taught digital marketer earning multi-six figures per year through the power of my personal brand. Before, I have invested in multiple sales and business courses, but prior to this, everything I learned about building a personal brand was organic. And a good personal brand doesn't actually require you to have a lot of followers, but that usually comes as a cause of it. So let's get into what a personal brand actually is. Now, likely whether you've watched one of my videos or quite a few of my videos, there are probably some similarities in how each side of the scale is perceiving me. This is due to my personal brand, and the more that my audience kind of interacts with my different platforms or content, they'll develop a rounded understanding of who I am and what my personal brand stands for. So you actually have a personal brand, whether you have social media or in the digital sphere in general, because your personal brand is just how people perceive you, how you make them feel based on how you look, your actions, what you say, what you believe in, those kind of things. But of course, in the digital sphere, you can kind of curate your personal brand. That's why you tend to see, for example, let's say people who sell e-commerce courses or dropshipping courses. They tend to have a very luxurious personal brand, one that emphasizes being a hustler and continuing to work hard and being motivational, because their goal at the end of the day from their personal brand is to trigger something in people to make that sale and purchase their course. So in order to do that, they need to convince them of this innate desire that they may have to also have those qualities and those values. So personal branding is so fun because you can really curate your personal brand to be you, which then makes it easier for you to create content or to build an audience that in the long run won't burn you out or make you feel exhausted because you're just being you. Now, usually most people will go into maybe creating a logo or a set of colors or doing a photo shoot or something along those lines when they're getting ready to build their personal brand or doing a rebrand. However, I think the back end, the research before you get to that stage is so important so that all of the layers of your personal brand kind of intertwine. Because as I said in the beginning, just from watching 5 seconds of my video, you probably started to gain a bunch of subconscious preconceived ideas or notions about me. So that's how intentional you have to be about the way that you're presenting yourself and your brand overall. So the first thing that I recommend you doing to create your personal brand or to do a little bit of a refresh is to build your core values. Some people might call these pillars, whatever you want to call it, but I would say to choose 3 to 4. I personally think you should choose 3 core values that your personal brand will exude, that people can know and understand you for. So I get tons of DMs all the time of people sending me digital marketing news. I get emails about digital marketing, or people ask me questions about ads and they care about my opinion or what I have to say about certain concepts or certain media pieces that are put out there. This is because one of my pillars or values is digital marketing. I share ins and outs of modern day digital marketing when it comes to copywriting, content, social media, email marketing, you name it. So because I consistently post about this core pillar, digital marketing, people then perceive me as someone who is educated or understanding of things that are happening in the digital marketing sphere. So another pillar that I have, for example, is self-improvement. Some of my most viral videos on TikTok, for example, are about procrastination and delusional confidence and becoming your best self. This is important to me because I've always valued and really enjoyed talking about self-improvement and mindset. It's just a part of my identity. I could yap about it literally forever. So it was a way for me to incorporate another piece of me into my content that, for example, if there was nothing to talk about in digital marketing sphere, which will likely never happen. But if that were the case, I could choose to post about mindset, for example, or I could also just share my values on top of this niche area of study that I know. And this is important, especially if, for example, you're a service-based business owner, or you're offering something to the world, because what really separates you from your competitors, let's say you are another copywriter and creative strategist like me, what really separates us aside from our skill sets is our personality. What else we bring to the table? Can we communicate? Are we, fit for the type of brand or agency that is looking to hire the service provider? For example, I've worked with agencies who really prioritize all of their team being very fit and healthy. They go to the gym, they like to read self-development books. This is something that I would easily kind of fit into, whereas other copywriters and creative strategists might not fit into this realm and might not be a good fit. But if you don't kind of exude that with your personal brand, then they won't know. So it's much easier for people to kind of get a quick little grasp of who I am in all my realms if the 3 pillars I have really reflect who I am. So first step is to choose your pillars. I think the easiest way to do this, if you don't know right off the bat, which when I started to build my personal brand, I didn't know what my values were either, and I wish I had done this sooner, is just take a little paper and draw a stick figure of yourself, and then just write out a bunch of, put some arrows around it and just write out everything that you think kind of makes you you. So literally anything you could think of, everything you can think of. If you love ramen, write ramen, put food, put whatever you think makes you you. And then from there, you could maybe highlight in 3 different colors, from most important to least important, or most valued thing, or most important thing you think you want to represent you, highlight with different colors. And then from there, you can narrow that down again by choosing your top 3. And you can do this over an amount of days. You can think on it, pray on it, whatever works best for you. So that way you have your 3 to 4 pillars that you can now use as your next stage of developing your personal brand and doing the research. And in this next stage, I want you to ask yourself, what do you want out of your personal brand aside from money? So aside from anything monetary, anything you can gain from it, what do you want to do? What is your why? Are you here to, for example, my why is to help small business owners with their digital marketing efforts. So I really want to help as many small business owners through my YouTube videos learn free information to building their business, because I think that a lot of things are gatekept, or they're not put in packages and are easily accessible to people who might not have any other entrepreneurs around them, or haven't really dug deep into the digital marketing sphere, but they have this really creative idea. So I want to kind of bridge that gap, aside from, using my social media as a platform for other businesses to find me and eventually pay me for work. I really want to help small business owners grow their business with my content. And simultaneously, I also want to inspire creative entrepreneurs to use their skill sets to build their personal brand and make income for themselves as well. That's like a side quest that I have with my personal brand that may eventually turn into my main quest, which is part of why I'm making this video. I felt compelled to share how to build your personal brand. So figure out your why outside of money, and once you have that, then you can narrow down who you're targeting and what you want them to gain from it. So all of that will kind of come at once, and I just gave my example so you can do the same exact thing. Now, once you figure out who and what you want them to get out of it, I want you to narrow down the demographics and the psychographics of your audience. Now, I recently did a video about branding and why your marketing isn't working because your branding is poor. This is for businesses itself, not your personal brand. But I go really in depth about your psychographics and demographics of an audience in that. So you can also click on that video and watch it after this to kind of get a more rounded understanding. But just in simple, quick terms, your psychographics of your audience is, their age, where they are in the world, what they do on the weekend, how they feel about their current situation. For me, for example, would be, let's take the route of the small business owners I'm trying to help. They just started a small business. Maybe they're making $10,000 or $13,000 a month from their small business. So it's not completely failing, but they kind of have a grasp of things, but it's not doing the best. And they're looking for specialized information to kind of build on the things that they kind of learned as they went. I would say they are feeling a little bit frustrated about the decline in sales that they have, and they want to continue to grow their brand, and it's making them feel insecure and maybe even fearful because they've put all of their money into their brand, and they're really looking for information to help them fix the problems that they're facing. So those would be the general psychographics and demographics of my audience. And you want to do the same thing. You want to go into depth about how they're feeling, why they're feeling that way, where they are in the world, how much money they make, that kind of thing. So that way, when you're making content or you're making decisions for your brand, you have that specific audience in mind. And the best thing you can do for this is to take one specific person. I've had multiple dream clients, and those are the kind of avatars I think about. I know their specific situations, what they were dealing with, why I enjoyed working with them, and how I helped them. And you use those. And if you don't have any clients yet, or you don't really know what your audience might look like, you can maybe interview potential people or just dig deep into your why to then pull that out. Okay, so once you've done that, I want you to actually repeat that paper exercise I told you about in the beginning with the core values. But instead of writing all about you, you're going to write all about your audience. You're going to write all the problems that they might have, the specific things they might find interesting, what they might be interested in hearing, that kind of thing. And this is going to kind of help you guide your content pillars. So these are your content pillars will be your values. So 3 broader topics that you will be broken down. And this new kind of avatar paper exercise that you're doing is meant to help you get those specific topics down. So let's say you have your 3 values and then you have 10 specific topics underneath those, and then those can be further broken down as you actually develop the content. So this is just personally how I've went about things and find to be really useful. And I think when you're doing this paper exercise, it's really important to ask questions like, what will make this person invested in my brand? How do I want to make them feel? And what makes them feel that way? What kind of things would make them feel that way? And then from there, write them down and add them to your content pillars. So you have a really broad perspective, and you can obviously do this on like Notion or Excel or anything, what you prefer. And then whenever you're creating content now for your personal brand, you have this huge mega document of stuff you can look at and kind of refresh your memory and give you ideas and boost your creativity. Okay, now we're nearing the end of this. After you have your content ideas down, then you would need to pick, personally, I would say 3 social media platforms to build your personal brand on. My personal recommendation is 1 long form video, 1 short form video, and 1 written. So me, for example, YouTube as a long form video platform, TikTok as a short form video platform, and LinkedIn as a written platform. You could also choose Twitter, for example, or you could do YouTube and Instagram. Of course, I post on Instagram and whatnot, but my priorities are those 3. And I think that's important because it allows you to kind of have some structure. So I can post this video on YouTube, for example, and then post the same idea in short form content and also drive people to my YouTube videos from that content. And I also can create a LinkedIn post about the same thing, building your personal brand, how to grow your personal brand, and so on and so forth. So usually I start with the kind of long form content, so YouTube, and then I repurpose that content for the other 2 platforms. And it becomes really easy and seamless to do so, and it doesn't feel like I'm creating a new piece of content for every platform because I have this, okay, I have my content pillars, I have my ideas, I'm now going to use this big content idea for the month, and I'm going to break it down into these different types of short form videos and these written pieces throughout the month, so, or week, or however you're going to divide the amount of content you post. So I would say that's a great way to start, and then from there you can expand. Imagine you begin to post, your personal brand blows up, and then you have a team, and then maybe you can have someone just dedicated to helping you with your Instagram content alongside TikTok and Twitter or whatever, other social media platforms that people are using these days. And last but certainly not least, the next step and the most important step, in my opinion, is to stay consistent. You will not see overnight success. Nobody sees overnight success, even if it may look like it, because they've been chipping away at the stone all their lives, even if you don't see it. I would say I posted for 2 to 3 months on TikTok, maybe 4 consistently. I'm talking 3 to 4 times a day before I started to see real growth and eventually got to 50,000 followers. And I would never get to that point if I stopped. And looking back, I would never post 3 to 4 times a day. I would just make my videos better. Looking back, I realized that the videos weren't actually that good. And I didn't have that personal brand that I'm sharing all the tips now that I've learned with hindsight with you guys. I didn't have all of that before. So looking back, I would have just posted 1 to 2 high quality videos a day and continue to stay consistent. But what helped me grow ultimately, even though in my opinion, my videos weren't that good, was that I stayed consistent. And I used that kind of rule of thumb with everything I do in life. If you stay consistent at something for long enough, something will hit, something will fit, the puzzle will be complete. Even when it comes to YouTube, I've heard some big YouTubers like Ali Abdul and Mr. Beast share that when it comes down to it, it's really the people who post the most videos for the longest period of time. You know, I think the top YouTubers have over 100 or 200 videos in the first year or first 2 years that they start to post content. So that goes to show that it's just the consistency over time. It's the reps that you can put in. My personal recommendation is to focus on reps, focus on staying consistent. If you're not in front of people's faces, they will forget you, therefore you will not build your personal brands. However, don't just focus on the quantity, focus on the quality and ensuring that you're incorporating all of these elements into your personal brand. And you're incorporating all the important elements that we just discussed into your overall branding. So when people see you, they kind of have a clear understanding of what they're gonna get. So of course, if you're gonna do a photo shoot or create a logo or a website similar to maybe the website that I have, or I have, I think, a sub icon on my YouTube videos, things like that. If you wanna create those elements, you can now use all of the information that you've gathered to create something that will resonate subconsciously with your audience. So I know that my clientele are female founders between the ages of 25, maybe 24, but let's say 24 to mid 30s. They love a clean aesthetic. They're into everything going on in social media and pop culture. So I want my personal brand, my logo, my photos to kind of reflect that persona alongside reflecting me and who I am at heart. So my website and everything that I include and the language I use and the text and the fonts, they all kind of subconsciously attract that persona that I'm trying to reach while also reflecting who I am as a person. So that's why I think it's important to kind of go through this stuff first, because if I wanted to target maybe a male audience, I might think very differently about the fonts and photos and website that I build. They definitely don't care much about the aesthetic or that kind of thing. And also you want to think about how you want people to perceive you in terms of your price range, like how the quality that you bring, you know, think about, for example, chocolates like Kit Kat versus Ferrero Rocher or Fiji water versus or Pure Life, you know, they have their labels and their packaging tell people about them before you even look at the price. You would assume that Fiji is more expensive than the Pure Life bottle, and that's the same thing with your personal brand. Your website, your photos, all of that give people quick subconscious ideas about who you are. So it's important to think about all of those layers and then develop these pretty fun elements that people usually like to think about first. So I yapped a lot. I'm gonna stop there. I really hope this video was valuable. I wish I had all this information earlier when I started my personal brand. So yeah, good luck and just stay consistent. Things will happen, things will align. I'm rooting for you, and God bless.